Hey Christolight, how
I,
are you?
I am ready.
So today I am joined with Marcus Christolight Robbins, and he is the owner of Sacred Light Healing and Wellness. And today and my name's Derrick Ivey. I'm a board certified clinical hypnotherapist, researcher, and intuitive. And Marcus and I came together today to really talk about the holistic journey of awakening. And if you are going through a very, very challenging awakening experience, both Marcus and I have been through that process, and we're always still students of that process, and it's a never ending process. So
Mhm.
there's always many layers to uncover about it. So, welcome, Marcus. Thank you so much for your time and energy to be here today.
Yeah, thank you. I'm really grateful to be here, and I really appreciate you reaching out to me and providing this opportunity for me to share and be able to just be vulnerable and give some gifts today. Thank you.
Yeah, beautiful. And I just want to start off by how are things going in your world?
Thank you. Um, well, if I had to be fully honest, um, when it comes to my own personal self and my own well being, my health, my path of kind of personal creations and things of that nature, it's going very beautifully, very expanding, very abundant, very just breathtaking experiences day after day, connecting with Soul Fam and having more and more opportunities coming into my plate with
Mm,
podcasts, shows, as well as events and retreats and other things going on with community as well. I actually just recently went to a event yesterday. It's called First Friday here in Dayton, Ohio, and it's a bunch of factories. It's like a complex kind of, and these old factory buildings are art galleries now. So just come and check out the food trucks, the vendors, the music, and the galleries and stuff like that. And I was given an opportunity to start setting up at my friend's art gallery there. So I went into the upstairs. She has a little upstairs area, and I got to set up there. Offered some donation-based card readings as well as energy clearing sessions, and yeah, it was really beautiful. It was just a really new step in my journey. It was definitely different, that type of environment, where it was like a public gallery with public kind of flowing in and out. So it was definitely something to learn and kind of get used to with how I wanted to really flow with that layout. Because for me, I'm very adaptive. I'm a Gemini sun sign, so I'm very sensitive to my surroundings and how I
yeah,
can best suit and how I can best serve my surroundings. So for me, um, it was just really a lesson of not really structuring anything, but just allowing myself to be there and kind of allow one-on-one availability for those that are flowing through that feel called. So it was cool. I'm very grateful, and I'm just really happy to have these opportunities continuing to unfold. But outside of my own self, staying with my routines. Every rising, I do a chakra balance meditation, as well as about 15 minutes of yoga, and then I intermittent fast until lunchtime. Drink just tea and water. I really like to be in tune with myself to kick off the day, so I can really be in a present space with myself and really have I don't want to say control of my day, but more of the direction and guidance of how I want my day to unfold. And
Yeah.
along with that, I've had some challenges for sure when it comes to the home life. I've been taking care of my dad at home. He had a brain hemorrhage about 4.5 months ago, and he's recovering from that. And right now, he is not really swallowing anything at the moment, so he's on a stomach tube feed. So there's just been a lot of difficulties with the clogging of that tube feed. So it's continuous, and it can be a very rigorous thing when it, it's just continuously happening. And
Yeah.
then gets to a point where it's either taking hours to unclog it, or it's to the point where we have to go to the ER to get it unclogged. And that takes like the whole entire day, because you go to the ER, that's a 5-hour trip almost. It's crazy. So just really dealing with that as well, on top of everything else that I've been balancing, it's definitely been challenging, been tiring, and it's very, what's the word? It's very optimistic of growth. I'll just say that. It definitely gives you a lot of opportunity to grow and to be able to dig even deeper to detachment. And it's a very humbling journey, that's for sure. But that's what's going on with me. Overall, pretty good, pretty blessed. Just dealing with some, those issues with the medical equipment with my dad.
Yeah. And I've been around your online spaces as you've been navigating that journey with your dad, and I know how dedicated you are to being there for him, and that's beautiful. It's like so many times in life it seems like something is like a diversion from our spiritual path, and then we have to realize like this is the path. This is the path that we're walking on. So I kind of want to hear more about like your awakening journey, and how has that really prepared you for the challenges that you're navigating right now in life, and your growth and your practice.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this is one of my favorite things to talk about is my story, because every time I bring it up, it really hits home for a lot of people. So, a lot of people may see me where I'm at now and may have this, this vision of like, oh, this guy's like, he's just some spiritual teacher or some spiritual master, whatever. But I'm a human being too. So there's a whole life that I've had and I still have. And,
Yeah.
a large part of that is, it really started unfolding from really, I would say, middle school to high school, junior high to high school, was when I kind of started going into the experimentation stage of my life. And that experimentation stage was my natural curiosity of just what I need to experience on a soul level. And that natural curiosity led into drinking on the weekends at a friend's house because their mom would buy us alcohol. And then from there, smoking weed and getting introduced to that. But obviously not in a medicinal value way. And then from there, just continuously repeating this, partying on the weekends, things like that. So then middle of high school came around I think sophomore year. My parents divorced, and after my parents had divorced, I had then experienced and witnessed my mother go through multiple abusive partnerships. And that was really tough because, you know, to see that from all these different partners and then to not see that from my own father, that was that was a
Yeah.
hard one to digest because it was like, so you divorced with my father, who never abused you in any type of way, and then you get with these guys that abuse you. So that was just like, whoa, that was
Yeah.
quite the experience as a teen. And it honestly kind of divided me and my mom for a little bit because, you know, I'm a very passionate person. I'm a Leo moon sign. I'm a Gemini sun. So I also speak my passion. And I don't just be quiet, you know, like I expressed my passion of, you
Yeah.
know, me wanting to see her leave and be done with that and be out of that for the sake of everybody. And, you know, there would be that kind of, I don't know what they call it in psychology, but that kind of dissonance, you know, where it's like she's just defensive and defending him and all that type of stuff. So that was pretty
Right.
hurtful for a while. So that kind of pushed me into just wanting to be in the streets. And I started staying in the streets. I wasn't really staying home at all. And with that, I started couch surfing. I was getting high like every day, multiple different things. This is after high school, the couch surfing and all that stuff. So I got out of high school, um, and then before I got out of high school, I actually started selling weed to all my friends because they would give me all their money, and then I would go get it when we were hanging out on the weekends and stuff. So I just ended up selling it. So then high school ended, and um, yeah, I was just living in the streets. I was not home much at all. Wasn't in communication with my mom or anything, and I was getting high about every day, whether it was alcohol, LSD, mushrooms, ketamine, ecstasy, Molly, cocaine, all of that. And my lifestyle was selling, partying, and getting high. So 2000 and I guess I'll go ahead and say 2014, I had met a good brother of mine. His name is John, and we started hanging out about every single day. And he was already a Reiki master at the time. He already knew about the chakras and breath work, and he had yoga teacher friends and all that. So he was like my main introduction of that life or those type of practices. So hanging out with him every day, we'd be practicing these practices, and it's like doing different esoteric teachings and stuff like that. And then I would take it home and practice with myself, meditate with myself, go into my own stillness, things like that. And then also in 2015, I was actually in jail for a short period. And while I was on my rack at night, I was the only one still awake. And I read a book about a psychic medium, and he did readings on a radio show. And I read the book, and then afterwards, I had felt this like this calling inside. It was like, you know, if he can do it, I feel like I can do it. So I don't know why. That just like, you know, it came through. So then
Yeah.
I sat there, and then I grabbed a pad of paper and a pen and placed my hand on the pad of paper. And I mentally let go of my hand just to let it sit there. And then next thing I know, I feel this spiritual energy begin to move my hand. So then it starts writing, and then I start asking questions. Long story short, I ended up tapping in with my dad's uncle. So that was my first mediumship experience consciously. And then from there, I started
Wow.
channeling different guides, different family members. And the channelings have just expanded in many different ways since. Light language, the meditations I do, just readings, just straight up just living life, and then channeling. Very clear channel. So yeah, 2013 is when I graduated high school, and then that was when I started getting more deeply into the addiction phase and getting involved even deeper with the selling. So then in 2015, that was when I started learning the practices and started integrating them into my life. And when I was continuously practicing and doing these things, I actually started to notice that I was doing better with my anger. I was doing better with my frustration. I was able to be more clear, more energized, as well as just more grounded when it came to my everyday life. So then 2017 came around, and I ended up selling to an undercover, and I went to prison for a year in 2017. And while I was there, I ended up teaching about 8 people meditation, as well as the 7 chakras, and I would do guided breathwork meditations with them on how to clear the 7 chakras.
Wow.
So yeah, so through that, it really was one of those dark night of the souls for me. Like that was probably the main one for sure. And I'll also say too, what initially ignited and led me into I guess spiritual awareness or multidimensional awareness was actually psychedelics and plant medicine. Taking mushrooms and LSD, it really just opened the gateways of my consciousness. And yeah, I may not have known like in a sacred, devoted way, like what it was exactly that was happening, but it was happening and I was experiencing it. So through that, it was opening up my consciousness to different dimensions. And then from there, getting led into the practices from my good brother, that was kind of like the start of the practices, and then starting to tap into the power within. And then 2017 came around, and then that was when it was basically like the integration of those practices and closing out of that old life of mine. And then through that prison time was like that rebirth and that integration of the practices I've been learning. And that then ignited me to then, when I got out in the end of 2017, to then create Sacred Light Healing and Wellness in 2018. And then I also got Reiki certified, crystal healing certified, and I've been doing guided meditations now for about 8 years. I do them live. I've done them on workshops, festivals, events. I create professional audio versions. And so from there, I created the podcast in 19. And ever since, it's just been a continuation of growth and expansion when it's come to my practices, the content, as well as physical spaces. And then, so the main intention and, the core of what it is that I do with Sacred Light is, number one, to bridge community and provide spaces for us to come together. Number two is to be able to bring more easier and efficient access to knowledge, wisdom, and tools for us to be able to utilize in our everyday life, self-empowered on our own. Mm-hmm. And number three is to be able to give others platforms and spaces to be able to share their gifts, or even if they're not ready to share them, to prepare them and practice their gifts in a sacred space. So those are my main 3 intentions that embed within everything that I do with Sacred Light. Thank you.
Beautiful. That your story just really, it does hit home. I feel so much of myself in your story, like as you were describing that, because probably it just reminds me, how magical this path can be and like what it leads us to, and just thinking like where I was at back in 2014 while you were meeting John and getting introduced to these practices. It's like I was also beginning my practices and like getting beat up by the world and alcohol and drugs. And it's like it takes you into that different, like the lowest lows, but then it gives us the ability to open up to the most beautiful things. And it's like as you were describing the like seeing your mom going through a lot of abuse and all of that stuff, it's just so like there's so many things that are coming to my mind about my own journey and other people's journey that I've worked with. And it's so beautiful that you now have used all of these experiences to help other people open up to their highest path. And that's beautiful.
Thank you.
And the other thing that you said is you're still a human. And I so relate with that, because it's like as we start doing this spiritual work and guiding others on their journey, like we still are humans and we still are so imperfect and we're still growing at the same time. So how has that been? Like I wonder if you could expand more on that. Like, how do you hold your wholeness as a human while helping others, but still going through your own challenges, and what really keeps you going?
I gotta say, my routines are super key. And I suggest, and of course, suggestions are just suggestions for everybody out there. I suggest, whatever it may be authentic to you, to figure out what type of routines for yourself that you can incorporate as a foundation for your day. Because for me, my routines basically create a foundation. And then that foundation gets created as soon as I open my eyes and wake up. And then from there, it's almost like, instead of allowing the day to kind of sway you, as soon as you get up, your energy is just getting pulled this way, pulled that way. It's already focusing on what's going on in the world. It's already focusing on what's going on at home with all these other people, things like that. So then your energy is already getting distorted. It's already absorbing. It's already creating attachments and cords. So for me, I thought it would be pretty powerful to prioritize the start of my day to routines. And those routines have really helped me be able to have the energy to be able to keep going and to be able to sustain myself throughout the day. It's also such a very powerful way to really be in tune with the aspects of yourself, mentally, emotionally, and physically. And when you step into the world, when you step into your day in more of a attunement state and in a state where you're present, and when I say present, I mean present with your mind, your body, and your emotions, it's different. It's really been different for me because now the universe kind of sees or responds to me intentionally taking control of my personal life and personal day. So then everything then just radiates and magnetizes based off of my foundation, my routines. Now, of course, if there's other things going on in the day, other things are going on in the day. But whenever I have that free flow, I just make sure I get my routines in, and then I allow myself to surrender and let the rest of the day unfold for me. So yeah, routines is definitely key, because the routines also are going to keep you up with your spiritual hygiene, your mental maintenance, your emotional maintenance, your physical waking up, your physical circulation, and then also like diet as well. You know, what I'm consuming. I mean, that has a dramatic effect on our being, especially when you think about tiredness, alertness, fogginess, feeling cramped up, feeling blocked up in the stomach. All those different things definitely make a difference in our experiences in our everyday life. And that was something I definitely considered a lot more for myself. And being plant-based and basically drinking just water, tea, and fresh juices has really helped me a lot with keeping my organs functioning, keeping my blood flowing properly, which helps your heart, helps the nervous system, helps the brain health, and also helps your vibration as a whole when it comes to your electromagnetic field. So routines, diet, also continuously reprogramming myself, continuously, counseling my own self, being my affirmations, as well as, talking to myself, counseling, directing those thoughts into other thought forms, directing my negative outlooks to things that are more of a higher outlook or more loving, things like that. Those are those micro level things that I continuously try to keep up and stay in tune with and address those as they come. And that's the key, is like addressing them as they come, not like they arise. Now I'm just gonna keep on cycling on what it is day after day, just continuously cycling on what that is. It's like, oh yeah, that's what I'm experiencing, that's what I'm experiencing. But rather, oh okay, this just happened, I'm experiencing the energy of it, this is what I'm going to do now. And I'm going to go ahead and put this action in to either transmute it or whatever it is I need to do. And then you can just continue forward. I try to be just very efficient, so to say.
Beautiful. And I love that. I love the depth that you bring specifically, Marcus, as a spiritual practitioner. Like, I see a lot of, in today's world, like surface level healing and kind of, this positivity that almost ignores the darker parts of our experience. But like the way that you approach things is so holistic and beautiful. And it's really like, as you were talking, that's what keeps me going as well. Like, I have a morning alignment routine that includes hydration, movement of my body, getting pen to paper, meditation, breath work, EFT tapping, and it's really, really powerful to get out ahead of things vibrationally and to have that intentionality from the very beginning. So then it's like you're this lighthouse instead of trying to pull all these other things to make it your way. It's more like where you can just love what is and be ready for more and open for more. But it really brings us into the dot of this now moment. Like this is where we are, that what's in our aura right now. Like, and diet, that's huge as well. And that's something that I'm personally really working on improving for myself, because, and being very vulnerable, what's happened to me is I've focused so hard on the spiritual things and then kind of let the nutrition slide. And recently I've been having some real awarenesses around that. Like, it's time to love your body as much as, like, no more half measures around diet, because it's just like I see the results of like what happens when you don't take care of your body and feed it very nourishing things and all that. So my question that I want to ask you is, let's say that someone's watching right at this moment that's going through some real challenging energy, and they're going through a really challenging time, and it feels hopeless. Like it's inconceivable that they could start doing better. How would you suggest that someone opens the door to bringing routines into their life?
Okay. So, and this is something I kind of do whenever I have my life guidance with people. I call it life guidance. Other people say life coaching. But for me, what I do is I primarily focus on, number one, going into the micro level of the way that we use our day. So the way that we're scheduling our day, basically, whether it's unconscious or conscious. and just kind of like keeping track of or taking note of what we're eating, what we're drinking, and also what it is that we're doing every hour of the day. Now, yeah, that may sound a little rigorous, but the whole point of that is you're going into the micro level layers of yourself, and you're
Yeah.
trying to break down what is it that I'm doing with my time every day, and how am I using it? How am I being present with it? Am I even being present with it? So then what we can do is we can get an overlook of, okay, now I see that there is time during the day where I can actually integrate a practice, or I can integrate something in between. Because what we'll find is there may be like a half hour or an hour period where we're kind of using it for things that are very pointless, or we may be
Yeah.
able to see that what I can do is maybe arrange 15 minutes, not even a half hour, like 10, 15 minutes to go ahead and do this quick guided meditation sound bath, or go ahead and do this quick breathwork session before the kids get off the bus. Um, Breaking things down to the micro is super helpful for me, because what I feel like that does is it helps the conscious mind be able to see things tangibly. So then
Yeah.
it can see things as steps rather than all in or all out type of feel, where it's like, okay, I have to do this today, I gotta do this today, I gotta do this today. Therefore, that's my whole day. So that would be like a macro level, you know? We're looking on a macro level at our day. But then when we zoom in into the micro, yeah, we have going on during the day, but it doesn't take up the whole 24 hours. There's still spaces where we can integrate things in between those events or activities. So that has been one of my main things with helping people look at is, you know, taking a look at what we're doing with ourselves every day. And then along with that, just it really helps us be able to be more conscious and more present with ourselves. So then we're really aware of like what it is that we're doing and what we're consuming and how it affects us as well. Um, so that's something I definitely suggest is, you know, if you're someone that is either new or you're trying to integrate practices or healthy things into your life, but you feel like maybe you don't have the time or you're not sure how or when you would, just think about that. And that's something that you could do. You could break down and keep track of how you're using every hour of the day. And then you'll be able to kind of see that, yeah, maybe you could just get up 10 minutes earlier before you get up to get the kids ready for school. And that 10 minutes that you get up earlier, you put on a guided meditation on YouTube. As simple as that. Or as soon as you get out of work, you know, you're in the car and maybe you put on a 5-minute Reiki healing or something. There's just so many things that we can do if we allow ourselves to be open
Yeah.
to being in the moment and being adjustable in the moment, because that's what it's all about. You know, we're not living in like, you know, a world where everything is just a finite block, as in like
Hmm.
one thing takes up your whole entire day. Like, even if you're doing things, there's still things you can do with your own mind while doing things that we can also account for. So we're really that infinite, that limitless, that powerful. And it's really up to you and how much you limitate and not limitate yourself.
Yeah. And what came to mind when you were saying all that is, and I love all of that because it's really like how you live today is how you live your life. And
Hmm.
the little things or the big things, because it's those little micro choices that accumulate, whether they're a positive thing or a perceived negative thing. It's like it's a culmination of all of these little micro choices that really make up what we experience. So I love that, being able to break it down into more manageable, more micro, and be like, okay, what am I eating? What am I putting in my body? What am I putting in my mind? And yeah, it's so much simpler to just be like, I'm just going to focus on doing this little thing in this little chunk of time. So, wow, yeah, that's very, very good advice, and a great inquiry for a lot of people that are getting into this. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I still battle with it every day. I still battle with it for sure. Procrastination, I definitely battle with
Mhm.
that. It'll get me
Same.
too, man, because like I'll have things planned and then I'll just be like, oh man, you know, this is gonna be my day. But then like I have to come back to that remembrance, like there's still a lot of other things that I can do up until that one-on-one or up until
Totally.
that meeting. So it's like, what are you doing with your time up until that activity or whatever that is that's planned? Are you just, you know, allowing that time to kind of be wasted, so to say, because you're mentally stuck in the
Right.
future? Or are you truly present and you're using every moment you can to create even more and be able to have even more abundance flow through?
Yeah. And
Mhm.
it's all just like planting those little seeds. It's like every 5-minute Reiki that you do is a little seed. And then, eating something really good, that's a little seed. Like, so, and it's like all of these things, they blossom, and that's out of our control, like how that blossoms and how that looks. But so much is in our control, to do the routines, to intentionally eat things that nourish our body, to
Yep.
counsel ourselves throughout the day. And I often tell my clients, like, you know, when there's a difficult emotion, like, be that parent that you needed, like, and say, it's okay, I'm right here. You are safe. You are fully loved. It's okay, sweetheart, I'm right here. And that has been so, so powerful for so many clients. Um, and it just, your approach, it really comes together with my approach of helping people in a lot of different ways, but like in our own unique harmonic signature way of explaining and teaching that. So, wow, I love it all. And I know we're running out of time here on this, in this container, but I wanted to give you an opportunity to share with everyone watching, like, how would they get in contact with you and Sacred Light to get involved?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a few different ways that you can either participate or contribute to Sacred Light and the movement that I have. And that's number one, you can, tap in, support, and share the YouTube channel, as well as the lives that I do on my platforms, social media wise. Number two is you can also be a guest. You can come on and participate, share your voice, share your gifts, your wisdom for the collective. Just reach out. That's something that's always open. Number three, people can always book one-on-one services with me. That's always a support for me as it helps my finances, as well as help me be able to give and be that channel for your healing. And then along with that, I also get the opportunity to give you education, knowledge, and be able to be a practitioner for you. Along with that, I also am open to collaborations when it comes to retreats, festivals, and events. So if you're someone that has a venue, if you're someone that has a community, or you're a practitioner, musician, artist that likes to be a part of community activities like that, that's always open as well. And then as far as reaching out contact-wise, you can reach out to me on Facebook, Christolight Robbins, Instagram, SacredLight33. You can email me, marcustut23@gmail.com. And then you guys can also schedule directly one-on-one services through sacredlight33.as.me. And that's actually, that's my scheduling page. You guys can browse through it. You can read all my services, check out the prices, and book on your own. But yeah, that's everything for me. The online content, the one-on-one services, the physical event spaces, and then people can schedule at sacredlight33.as.me.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Christolight, for sharing your light, your voice, your hope and experience. And yeah, it was such a pleasure having this expansive conversation with you and hearing your story and just all of sharing the light that you are with the world. So thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a lot of fun, and I'm really grateful. Thank you for inviting me and holding this space.
Yeah, and we will absolutely be in touch and see what the universe has for us in the future as far as collaborations and healing spaces, and I am fully open. So we'll talk to you soon, Christo.
Absolutely. I look forward to our journey together. Thank you so much, Derrick. Much love, and everybody out there, have a blessed day.
Bye, everyone.